So, it's been a while. What has it been, like 2 months since I last made a video? Although there is a lot of things that I could have made videos on in the past from movies that I watched because, actually, I've been laid off since I made that last post. So, I've been laid off of work and there's a few things that I want to share with you guys that through my time being off work has actually opened my eyes to seeing. So, therefore, yes, I could have done videos on stuff that I use my points for the movies that I watch, because I watched a lot of movies since my time being off. From some videos that are Cocaine Bear to other videos that are Avatar, and even just the other day, I did George Foreman. Now, that being said, I could have just thrown out those videos for the sake of making videos. However, I know that you guys, I know majority of you guys enjoy the video reviews and the fact that I try and keep them mainly 100% spoiler free. However, I just wanted to take the time today and do a little explaining. So I'll put down in the box down below when we're actually going to get into the topic, because that's going to be around the 3-minute mark. Because right now we're just doing a lead up into what I'm going to talk about. So through watching the movie George Foreman and through reading a book that's called Just Do Your Job. Now the two are actually having a lot in common. They are Christian related content. So George Foreman is a Christian movie, and Just Do Your Job is actually a book that was written by somebody that I went to church with a very long time ago when I was, well, basically around the time that I got baptized. Just before that. So I was around 10 the last time he was at church with me, I believe. But anyways, so that's where we're leading into in this entire thing, and we're going to keep this video under 10 minutes. So it's going to be basically 7 minutes of me telling you guys about what I've learned. But the main point that I want to focus on is, what is it that we're exactly called to do? And some people, it's one thing, for other people, it's another. But everybody has their own purposes in life, and everybody sees things differently than the person next to them. And more often than not, we just need the people that are standing next to us to actually have a view into our lives to understand and point out things that we need to do. So, let's jump right into it. One of the first things that I've learned is a lot of the times you actually need to open up to the people that care about you most. Now, I know that sounds a lot like something we should all know, but I know we all don't do it. We think we do, but we're actually shutting people out of our lives and basically making them think that they have no idea what they're talking about. Now, for me, through my relationship and things that I've learned through my own family during this period of time, has quite literally been, it's either you can sit and do nothing, or when opportunity arises, you can jump at the opportunity. Now for me, I've had plenty of chances to go and work for other people, which I have gone and done. I've worked for these other people, and had to even apply for EI. But overall, I've done a lot of good things while I've been off work. Now, I'm not going to talk about those because I'm not going to boast about them. However, the good that I've done, it makes me feel good on the inside. And not everything that we do for other people means that we have to get paid. And for those of us that are Christians and other people that consider themselves religious, they know that if you get rewarded here on earth, that's the only reward you're going to get. So by doing these good deeds, I'm extending my hand to help those people that I strongly believe that I should be helping. And through being off work, it actually gives me time to help people and do things that normally I would never have done because I was too busy being in my comfort zone. So if you asked me when I was still a teenager and I was in the middle of playing video games, oh, do you want to go help me with something? I tell you, nah, I'd rather just play my game. Now, if somebody comes up to me and says, hey, do you want to go and do this and help me with this? My video game is pretty much shut off, paused. I go and help them right away. And if I'm doing an online game, I just finish it up or I leave the lobby and then I go. Because if it's almost done, I'll just finish that and then go. Which ultimately I shouldn't actually be doing because I should just be getting up and going. However, idleness can lead to laziness, and there's been a lot of things that I've done to not be idle, and there's a lot of things that I've talked about on this channel that I personally struggled with as sins that actually aren't even in my life anymore. Because I've used that time since I've been off work to focus on actually getting better. And although I had to have somebody else push me to get better, I had to let them in to see what was going on. Now, for me personally, I don't like hurting other people and I don't like seeing other people hurt. And even through the first aid that I've had to do over the years, I can tell you there's some pretty gnarly things that I've had to see and had to bandage. And one of them we already know was my mom and her situation. So there was a lot of times that I was doing things that I really didn't want to do. However, I knew that I had a job, and considering that was my only parent and it's my responsibility to look after them, I did what I had to do. And I'm not going to talk about the things that I've had to do with her personally at night, in the middle of the night. However, it's just times that when you find somebody that needs help, that's near you, that you can help, it's best if you go and help them. And to be honest, even like last month was a real eye-opener. If I had not been home, things could have been a lot worse upstairs than they were. And I'm not talking about heaven, I'm talking about this house upstairs. I'm not at liberty to talk about exactly what happened, but I'm grateful to God that I was actually at home and that I was able to jump up and respond right away. I heard a thud, and that's all I heard. And I thought it was just somebody closing a door. But overall, jumping back, now through my relationship, I've actually let her see into my life and see all the nitty-gritty stuff, the stuff that I really don't want to talk about. I've talked about it on this channel, but overall, it ended up being like I would go a week or I'd go a couple of days without doing it. And now it's to the point where I'm almost 2 months without it. And to be honest, I feel so much better without it because now I have peace of mind, I have clarity, I can see things better. And when I have somebody that's speaking into my life, that I value their opinion, it just makes things so much easier. So finding somebody that you value their opinion is critical to this entire thing. Because if you have somebody you value that you see is adding value to your life, it makes it so much easier for you personally to actually get in that space and be like, you know what? Maybe I do need help. And sometimes we have the dumbest ideas, and I know us men in particular, sometimes we have great ideas, sometimes we have bad ideas. And a lot of the times it's either a family member or a spouse or a girlfriend or what have you that tells us, are you really sure that's what you should be doing? Now, the one common thing that we always overlook too is when people are saying the same thing over and over again. Sometimes it has value, sometimes it doesn't. Now, what I mean by that is if people are being profoundly negative towards you, generally there's a reason as to why. Now, that reason could be good or it could be bad. Some people just want to watch other people suffer, so they'll say bad things. Obviously, with that, consider the source and ignore it. But when you hear people that are constantly saying, well, have you tried doing this? That's generally the times that they're not saying things to try and upset you. They're saying things to try and help you. So in my case, it was people saying, "Are you really sure you should be waiting?" Now, a part of me was like, yeah, I want to wait because, like, I missed the good pay that I had. And to be honest, did I like a lot of what I was doing? Yes. And, that's the thing about jobs, is sometimes you find things that you love doing, and sometimes it's just the people around you that make it hard. And that are the ones that stress us out. Now, I can honestly remember being very upset the first few months that I worked for Allright. And for anybody that doesn't know, Allright is a construction company that deals with heating and ventilation. Now, the first couple of reasons that I felt upset is because A, I felt like I sucked at my job, and B, I didn't actually take the time and think about what I was learning. After I took the time to start thinking about what I was learning, I learned everything through repetition. So I started being able to put things together and be like, okay, so this goes over here, this goes over here, I can connect it like this. And when I'm folding the metal, I can just do it like this. And I had days that I didn't do anything wrong. Everything just seemed to be going perfectly. And I had days where I'd make a mistake and then I'd have to think and be like, okay, how do I fix this mistake? And overall, that's the thing about life, is we're all going to make mistakes. And it's up for us to actually take the time to learn from them. But when you have somebody that's speaking to you and doing so in a loving way, it makes things so much different for us. And the second thing that I learned isn't just that you need somebody that's speaking to you so that you can help understand what's happening, is you have to be open to the idea of change. Now, I'm fairly certain everybody knows what I mean about you have to be open to the concept of change, but not everybody does want to change, because a lot of the times we're stuck in our comfort zones and we're like, but I really want to do this, or I really want to do that. But I don't want to do that because that means that there's so much more things that I'm going to be missing out on. For me personally, having weekends off for the last year has been awesome. I like having my weekends off. However, I also know that my future strongly depends on the decisions that I make here and now. Because without acknowledging the past and addressing the past so that you can enjoy your present, because the present is always a gift. Tomorrow is always going to be a mystery, but you can't have the future if you don't have your mind set presently. Now, to change that entire scenario where we're always stuck in our past to focusing on our present is quite often a lot of what grief counselors talk about and therapists. Is what is the few things that they want you to talk about? They want you to talk about your past. Now, why is that? Because they want you to address your past to help understand there is a path to move forward. Now, I know that may seem scary. It is to me. And that's one of the things that I've had to address this past couple of months, is my past. And it took a real eye-opener, and something that actually went very, very wrong. A conversation that I thought would go simple, but I made it about myself. And that's one of the things that I had to learn, is that when you're trying to be with somebody, making conversations about yourself all the time is not the way to go. It's okay to answer questions when people ask you about things, but it's not okay for us to go and take things that they're talking about when they're upset and make it about you. Now, I know a lot of the times it is needed to become upset about certain things. That way we can address them in the moment. And it's also okay at times to go and say, hey, you know what? I need to take a step back and reevaluate things. I know for me, if you told me, like, a little over a year ago that I'd be looking at a manager position right now, I would have told you you're nuts. Because I didn't want that. But now I'm looking at things and I'm like, you know what? To be honest, maybe I should have done that. But I've also come to terms with everything happens for a reason. Now, I know a lot of people hear that and they're like, well, how do you explain this? How do you explain that? And when you're talking about negative things and then you hear somebody say, well, everything happens for a reason, obviously you don't want to hear that. I totally understand that. I totally get that. And I know that that's not at all what is meant when that is said. Because some people are going through cancer. Some people are going through multiple deaths in their family. And for somebody to go up and say, well, everything happens for a reason, can be woefully ignorant to them. Because everybody's situation is different. For me personally, those words ring true, that everything happens for a reason. And just before my mom had passed away, I had a video that I made about how to be okay when things are not okay. And I had to reflect on that video and be like, you know what? In the moment, it absolutely sucked. But now that I'm looking at things, I understand that they were suffering. And the best thing for them was actually for the Lord to take them away. Yes, it sucks not having parents, but I also understand that other people go their entire lives without parents. So am I going to sit here and complain about, well, I have no parents? Absolutely not. Because I understand people have it a lot worse than I do. And every day, I get to go look around me. I get to look outside. I get to look up. I have a roof over my head. I'm still able to eat. I'm still able to do a lot of things. A lot of people don't have these basic necessities, and it's something we overlook. But for the process of change, if you don't like your certain situations you're in, we have to look at ways to change them. And for me, I have to make that change too. And I'm looking at going for work that's full-time, that even though it may not pay the best, it still means that I'm working. Yes, it may mean that I'm sitting behind a desk a lot of the times, but overall, what's better? To be doing your job or to be focusing on what you could have had? Now, if you're afraid to take the leap, that's a completely different story, because even I'm afraid to take the leap of a lot of things. I just wanted to go these past few months and be like, well, I'll just wait for construction to open up. I'll wait for it to show up. And I use that as an excuse the entire time. But now I'm to the point where I'm like, you know what? No. I can't do that anymore. And if I didn't have somebody that I value their opinion speaking into my life, I never would have done that. Now, do I feel forced because they tell me that? Absolutely not. There's a difference between them suggesting something and them forcing you. Them forcing you would be like, well, I care about you, but I can't be with you if you don't do what I want. That is forceful. However, when they say, you know what, I still love you regardless, but I really think you could and should consider doing this. And then that is the trigger that you want for change. Because it'll tell your mind, maybe they're right. Because sometimes all it takes is a little tiny seed to grow into a big, beautiful flower. Now, I know I said I wanted to keep this under 10 minutes. Obviously, it's going into more or less 20, so I'll end it just before it hits 20. But closing remarks, be open to allowing other people into your life. Allow them to see into your life so that they can help try and speak wisdom into your life, and allow yourself to change what you need to change. I know for me, it's personally something I gotta ask God to change. Because I know I can't do everything on my own. But anyways, I hope you're having a fantastic 2023, and if you're not, I hope it gets better for you sooner rather than later. Peace out, and I will see you all next time.